Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Spill, a movie night podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea. Film Spill, if you already don't know, is a podcast that comes out every week, and we talk about a movie by a female filmmaker every episode. We also discuss women in the entertainment industry in general. We play slumber party type games, spill entertainment, gossip, and get to know each other and our guest. This week, we have a very special guest, Jillian, who is a writer and a producer with Atlantic Pictures. Jillian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jillian. I'm a writer. I'm currently working as a producer at Atlantic Pictures, writing on my own time. I'm working a lot on like their kind of corporate short form projects, some short films, and also I help out with some of the TV and film work when that comes through as well.
Yes, I met Jillian back in AP when I was a PA/intern. Literally, she gave me my first gig on a music video, Albo's music video. Check it out on YouTube. I think it's still up, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is too. Albo's Music Room.
Oh, yeah. Music Room. See, I got it wrong. It's been that long. That was like 2018, right?
I think so, yeah. It was one of my, I think, first like official producer credits.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
That was such a fun shoot. Like, I really got to know some great people on that set that I still keep in contact with. You know, we all get so busy in our lives, especially when we're in the film industry. So it's nice to see that we can like always connect, even if it's like, you know, once in a while, but that we can always like, I don't know, reflect on like those like past journeys that we've gone through and then see where we've ended up now.
Yeah, no, totally. It's always crazy because it's like, I feel like film is an industry where it's like, there's no straight path to go anywhere. And it's like, I don't know, like it's funny always talking to like my dad who went like the like corporate like banking route and he just like doesn't get it. Like he's like, can't you just like go out and take a camera and like film a movie? It's just like there's so many more pieces to it than that. And there's not like one, especially trying to get in the creative side of it, there's not really one path to get where you want to go. So I don't know. It makes it interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending cycle where you're just trying to find yourself and where you best fit in. Like even still today, I'm like, where do I best fit in? Like, where can I best utilize my skills? But it's like, you know, because there's so many avenues and you can be interested in so many different departments in film that it's just so hard to navigate. And it's just also hard to be in those positions when you don't have enough experience in one or the other. So like that's like a whole nother ball game. But yeah, no, making film in general is hard and people don't realize how much time and effort it takes to put on a production. Yeah, no, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. As a writer, how many scripts would you say you have like in the back burner that you've written and that you have just like there?
Oh my God, like ready? I mean, honestly, like none, but I feel like that's the most writer answer because we're just like, they're never done. But I have a couple, I think I have two pilots that are like probably in states that could be like sent out places. Like one of them did decently well, like one draft of it in like some contests and stuff. Like it like was quarterfinalist, semifinalist, which apparently doesn't matter unless you win or you're a finalist. I remember when I won my first one, I like emailed like the place and I was like, oh, like is there like a like thing we get to go to or anything? And they're just like, you're cute, like there's nothing, like you're too like small of a fish, which is funny. But so it's like technically like that one could be like ready, but I'm like also like part of me just wants to like gut it and fix it. Like I'm just like the structure isn't 100%. Yeah, the other one I have a first draft of, and I have to go back and do a second draft, but I just haven't done that. Probably also needs some structure work. Structure is definitely one of my weak points. I'm taking a class on it right now, so I'm just like, maybe I'll wait till that class ends, and maybe I'll be an expert, and then I can go back and fix stuff. That's
Structure
probably just
is complicated.
procrastinating. Yeah, I hate structure.
Yeah, no, I know. Sometimes I'm just like, why can't I just write whatever I feel like and there be no structure and you just get it?
It's like read my brain vomit. Thank you.
Exactly. Is there a specific genre that you lean towards when you're writing?
I guess dark comedy mostly.
Dark comedy? Is there something
Yeah.
like specific that you like joking about?
I mean, I feel like for some reason, okay, so for some reason in all the scripts, the people have like their mom is like dead, but not really dead. Like she comes back later. And I'm like, I don't know why this is a theme. Like both my parents are alive. And then I read a lot about like addiction weirdly. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I've like known a lot of addicts. So it's like it comes out in my writing. I'm like processing. But yeah, I guess those two things are like pretty thematic that show up a lot.
Yeah, no, that's some like real facts though. I feel like we all have like this thing that we like tend to lean towards because it's something like life experience that we have just like maybe gone through or just like watched for ourselves. So it's just like something that just comes like naturally to us as
Yeah.
storytellers. But that's good that you could be like raw about it in your work as well.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like definitely funny sometimes because it's like people are always just like reading and they're like, "Are you okay?" Like especially like it's funny if like my parents read something, like especially my dad, because he just doesn't get the industry at all. Or like he's not creative. He's like literally like banker, like businessman, like I do credit card things. Um and he literally just will like he'll read my scripts and he'll just be like, "Is this okay? Are you okay? Is this about you?" And I'm just like, "No, it's not. Like it's like the character. It's not just like a reflection of me. It's like, there's like, I don't know, like, I mean, like, sure, there's parts of like the character that relate to you, but then there's also parts that don't, like it's, I don't know, it's like a process. And it's like, yeah, you pull from yourself, but then you also pull from like other people and like other experiences and other events. And like the characters kind of like inform themselves after a while. Like it's funny, like, people talk about sometimes like you almost like hear them like people in your head. I know it sounds crazy, but like if you get to know a certain character, if you're working with them for a while, you just kind of know like this is kind of how they would react, this is what they do, or like this is their response to something. And yeah, it's like sure maybe a part of you or something is like related to that, but it's like yeah, like I wouldn't do that, but like Regina would do that. Or like whatever.
That's
But
when
that's
you know that you've really developed your character and that they are their own persona, because
yeah,
that I think is another hard thing about writing is writing out your characters,
yeah,
and establishing that they're each gonna have different personalities. What's their background? Like, where did they come from? What made them who they are today? Like, what are their personal struggles? Like, all of that,
yeah.
you're trying to tell within this character.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me because I feel like I learn a lot through like writing out the pages and like literally just like yeah, like writing everything out and I'll find out all these details. Like I don't know, like some people are really like planners with it, which is probably this is probably why I struggle with structure. I'm not like a planner. I won't just sit there and write out like an outline. Like I never outline. Which is bad because then like yeah like the struct people are just reading this and like what is the structure. But I do feel like I know the characters very well because it's like you're just writing and you're like discovering stuff about them like as you're writing you're like seeing how they respond to these situations and it's like sometimes you're kind of like going through something and you're like oh okay actually like this is like something this scene is like the crux of like this character like what drives them what's their big problem what's their big struggle like it's like yeah, like okay, like oh they're missing their mom and their dad's kind of absent and like just writing this scene and then you're like oh like this other character that kind of is like a maternal figure for them like seeing how they really like don't have that from their two parents you're like okay this relationship is so much more important than I originally thought it was like originally it was kind of just like a funny character that was just like a throwaway character but now it's like oh like no that's like her like surrogate mom that's an important relationship that you have to like develop and stuff like that so I don't know, it's interesting, but yeah, I'm like still trying to figure out how it fits back into like the structure part of it of all right, now we have to like somehow make it seem like this was all my plan all along. Um which is the tricky
Yeah.
part.
Like finding where the roots began,
Yeah.
and flowing that with your story and making it make sense. Cause like, yeah, honestly, like when you have good story structure, no matter what you do, within your story. Like it's a well done film. Like there's been so many films that I've seen that are like their plots are just like they just take place in one location, or even just like, just a few locations, but because their structure is so strong and their dialogue has so much like story behind it and what they're saying and their messages, even if that's like symbolism too. Like there's a movie that does it very poetically, but it is based on a book, so maybe that's why it's like very poetic. But if you listen to it, we're watching the movie, you're like, damn, like you really have to think about like the message behind the words. And it's like those types of stories, like it makes you want to keep rewatching them so you understand the complexity of these characters and what they're really going through.
Yeah, no, it's like crazy. Like, I mean, and it's like, I think part of the interesting part of like working with Quinn on Not Okay is she's like very you can really see like down to every detail. And it's like, I think, like, I mean, I've probably watched it like at least 50 times. It would be funny if I actually like had to count of all the different times I watched it through the post process. I've only seen like the full finished film twice, but it's like every time, like I feel like there was still something new I was like seeing, because there's just so many layers that she put into like every aspect. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, like just like it's like a really good storyteller, a really good filmmaker that's just like thinking of these things and really just like, I don't know, it's like cool because then like when you are watching and paying attention, like you see those Easter eggs and you're just like, oh wow, this is amazing. Like this person's just, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know how she has space in her brain to like make all these connections sometimes. Like I'm just like, you're just like holding this like world of this script in your head. And I just, yeah, like I'm just like, wow, that's so cool. I want to do that. I want to be able to hold all this information in my brain like you do and just like know it like so well. Like you just know those characters, you know that story, you know like what's gonna happen with it. And yeah, just run with it.
Yeah, like the confidence behind your story that every little detail about it, why it is the way it is, and the reasoning why you wrote it to be the way it is as well. But that also brings up our subject for today. We are going to be talking about Quinn Shephard's drama film Not Okay 2022. But first, we're going to play our slumber party type game that I have created for us today.
Ooh.
All right, let's get into it. I'm super excited for this game. You enjoy. All right, so it's called Name the Character. We have Danny Sanders, Colin, Rowan, and Harper, who are like pretty much the main characters of the film. All right, so I'm going to read off these questions to you, and then you will have to let me know which one of these characters do you think it is. So you better know your movie trivia.
It'd be a shame if I didn't know, if I got one of these wrong.
No, we're shooting for 10 out of 10 here.
Oh my god, Quinn would like disown me. She'd be like, how do you not know? You've seen this
You spent so much time.
This is a year of your life.
Literally. All right. Number 1. This character faked their whereabouts on social media.
Danny Sanders.
Yes. All right. 1 for 1 right now. Number 2. This character is an activist for gun violence, for anti-gun violence. Sorry, let me clarify that.
She likes shooting people. This is Rowan.
Yes. Number 3. This character loves to vape.
Colin.
Yeah, he'd be doing those vaping tricks.
Oh my god, literally just so much smoke like that comes out. It was insane. I think they got him like a PAX or something, so it's just like so much smoke every time.
Was it like legit? Was it real?
Honestly, I'm trying to remember. I'm sure it like wasn't actually nicotine, because I don't think we're allowed to do that, but it was some sort of like the clouds of smoke were real, and I'm sure it was some sort of something that is not harmful, because I don't think we're allowed to actually give them nicotine.
Okay, that's what I figured. I'm like, I know that there's like substitutes for substances that are used.
Yeah, like I know like the scorpion joint was fake, and
it was fake?
It was fake. Well, I mean, it was really like, it was, I don't know, like they use like some sort of leaves, I forget what, but there's some sort of prop cigarette leaves that they use, and someone did actually have to roll it. I think actually I have a picture somewhere. I'll see if I could send it to you. I took a picture somewhere of the bag of like used up scorpion joints at like the end, like just like burnt up little scorpion joints. And yeah, they're funny. But yeah, like someone had to roll that. And I know for that one, I know Colin, Dylan O'Brien, he got enough smoke, I think, when he was doing it. But I know we had to add in smoke when Zoe took her puff. When Zoe took her puff, we added smoke in VFX. She didn't like, I guess maybe didn't want to breathe in as much, but she didn't exhale as much as he did.
Yeah.
He
Well, I
definitely
wouldn't.
smoker lungs.
Yeah, exactly. But also, it's like you don't know what you're inhaling. Like it's like tree leaves of what?
Yeah, no, I'm like, props. I need to see like the nutritional facts of this. Like, I'm sure it's all
Exactly.
whatever they use on every set, but yeah, it's just like funny.
Wow, that is so interesting. Well, I thought it was so cool, the prop. I'm like, a scorpion joint? Like,
Yeah, no, I was
what?
like, I've never heard of that, but then it's apparently a thing because I think I Googled it afterwards. I was literally just like, is this? And I was like, oh, yeah, no, people do this.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't even know how you could even like put all those pieces together like that. I'm like, that this is an art.
Yeah. Well, then he has to just light like literally all the legs.
It's so funny. I found this film to be so freaking funny at times. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, other side.
I know. Oh my God. And even the ending when like Harper calls him out, like, you're from Maine.
Yeah, that whole sequence was improvised.
Really?
Yeah, they did a couple different there's a lot of improv actually, because yeah, I mean Dylan and Zoe both I think have improv backgrounds, and it was just like, yeah, they'd try some stuff, and it's, yeah, some of it made it in, like the you're from Maine thing ended up in there. Yeah, because I think originally it was just, I don't think there was like any real dialogue there, but they just kept talking because, you know, like naturally like people would just, you know, continue talking. So they're all listening to each other in the office, and they just kept the conversation going. And yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I love improv too. Improv's
Yeah.
awesome, but it's so great like when you're like really good at it because you can really like fuck with the scene, but like in the best possible way, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like it's like funny because it's like definitely there was some stuff that didn't work, but there's definitely like those gems in there, and you're like, this is good.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. This character is the first to become suspicious of Danny's story.
Harper. She's like the only one ever. Like, I'm just like, how is no one else questioning? Harper's just like, nope. She's a shady bitch.
I know, and she looked into everything. She made sure she got her facts straight.
Yeah, she fact checked. She's gonna be a great actor one day.
Exactly. Number 5. This character lives in a disorganized lifestyle that you can see throughout their apartment / live-in habits.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is definitely Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. The especially because like the set just got like, we filmed for basically 4 or 5 days on the set of her apartment because there's a lot of scenes in there, and especially too, a lot of the scenes were a little more complicated in terms of like camera moves and stuff. Like we did the shot in the bathroom, like where she's doing her makeup, and it's mimicking one of those TikTok transitions where you kind of like go over your head and the camera spins and it comes back down. Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah.
Like, they're like rigged up on a crane. It was like a whole big thing, and we had to get it perfect for all our TikTok fans. And yeah, which was really also just cool to kind of see how like TikTok could be like influencing a movie in certain ways, because we're like kind of like trying to mimic some of the stuff that's like popular there. And but yeah, that like took a while though, because it was like a very complicated camera move. And then also too, like it's like her makeup look is like changing completely between the two parts. That's like, you know, like, yeah, we get the one move down right, but then it's like we have to wait like an hour or whatever for her to go through hair and makeup and come back in the other look. And then like, okay, do you guys remember how we did that perfectly an hour ago? We got to do it exactly perfect again. So yeah, like some of the stuff we did there was just like a little more complicated too. But because of it being messy, this is how I got here. I was like, how did I get here? It got more and more messy as we were there, because we were there for like 5 days, and also the place is just, it's supposed to be a pigsty because it's her apartment. We had so many flies in that I don't know if I'm like supposed to say this, but there's so many flies. It was so gross. I was literally at one point just like taking pictures and like videos of all the flies because there's so many like food containers. Because I think like people were just like not sure which ones were set dressing versus like crew member and like cast food. So it just like it got to a point like we're just like this place is literally disgusting. And it was like summer too. It was like August, like hot.
Oh
Stinky.
no, that's like the worst time too, is August.
Literally. Yeah, but I mean it was like fine. It was like maybe I don't think it was like quite health hazard levels, but yeah, we were definitely just like
Whose apartment was it? Did you guys rent that out for like
It was a
location?
stage.
It
We
was
built
a
it
stage?
hmm Yeah, that's our production designer, which just gonna shout him out right now, Jason Singleton. He is amazing. Like literally every set that he made, like I would just walk in like every day and just be like, just tell him how like amazing everything was. Cause like you just walk in, cause like especially too, like I was in for prep, so I saw all these places during like the location scouts, like with nothing done to them, and then just walking into the room and like seeing like Quinn's vision just like come alive, like so amazingly. And especially a lot of the stuff too, like the party scene, like some stuff had to be fabricated, like those big like mouth chairs like had to be made. And it's like I just looking at them, like I mean obviously because like in the script you get her like description of what the room is going to look like and stuff, but then just like seeing it you're like wow, like he just went above and beyond like in every aspect to make every set like so beautiful. And like even just down to some of the details in like the apartment and stuff, like stuff that she would have like like the magnets or like the like pictures on the wall or like yeah, like the books and like the bookshelf in her parents' room, like every like thing was like lovingly thought and like placed. Like it was amazing. But they built that set and it was awesome.
Yeah, I paid attention to it a lot more the second time around when I watched it, because I'm like, okay, I watched it the first time, I know what's going to happen. Let me the second time look for details. And I really wanted to look at like Danny's lifestyle, right? And you see that not only in her apartment, but in her childhood bedroom, you see that there's like similarities but differences, right? In her apartment, she's allowed to be more messier. And then in her parents, like you still see like her aspects of childhood, but also like the claustrophobicness of stuff that has lingered on to her apartment, but now she has more freedom. So it is like a pig stop, but it also just shows the type of person that she is. Like it had personality, right? And you saw that too in her workplace area when she like walks in for the first time and she's like sitting at her desk, and you see that she has so much stuff. So then, you start piecing it together, like, okay, obviously, like, she's disorganized in her life.
Mm-hmm. In all aspects.
Exactly. All right, question number 6. I know we're getting into like details, but I love this. We're learning more.
Like it lends to it because it's like I feel like some of the things you like pulled out, like I'm like, oh, I have little tidbits about these.
Yeah, cute. It's like little fun facts. I love it. All right, number 6. Which characters already had a social media following before meeting Danny?
Colin and Rowan.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Right,
influencers.
I know the influencer lifestyle. Number 7. Which characters went to the anti-gun rally?
Danny and Rowan.
Yes. Number 8. This character has a weed plant tattoo on the side of their neck.
Yeah, that would be Colin.
Such a character statement.
Yeah, our makeup artist did all the design of his like tattoos because he probably has some, but anyway, all the ones that were like on him, he's pretty clean. And we also like we're gonna bleach his hair, which like no one had seen. So we had him like try out this look. We filmed the whole like TikTok we had planned, like the transition one, which I'm sure people probably have seen because it blew up. There was like millions of views on TikTok of it. But we were nervous because it was like one of the first days he was coming to set, and like he has such a huge fan base, and especially because he's not really active on social media. Like I don't know how these people find stuff out, but they were like outside his trailer, like waiting, and like we're like, oh no, someone's gonna like take a picture and like leak this before we get a chance to like break the news, you know, in a sense of like this is his like look for the movie. So we were like racing against I think someone at like Searchlight had to approve the TikTok, and we were just like, please, like we need to do it before like everyone sees his blonde hair, because it's gonna just like ruin it. But if like we do it before, it's gonna be so cool. And we were able to like beat it just by like a little bit, but it was like crazy. It was like literally people like waiting outside his door, just like, what does he look like? We want to see him. And everyone loved him with like the tattoos and the blonde hair. It was like, I think it's just such a different look for him. But yeah, I was like, I like it too.
So he permanently bleached his hair, right?
Yeah, I mean, granted, his hair's short, so I mean, it's pretty easy to like grow it out. But yeah, he actually bleached his hair. The tattoos were fake, but yeah, like I can't remember the exact process, but I mean, I think it's something like our makeup artist like drew them, and they would last for like a couple days or so. But like he might need touch ups, you know, like if it was, you know, he honestly wasn't on set for very many days because he's not in that many scenes. But yeah, like it's like they would last for a little bit, but they're not super permanent or anything.
Interesting. I know now they're coming out with those like semi-permanent that last like 2 week type of tattoos.
Yeah.
So they might have gotten their hands on some of that. That's
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's definitely some like a movie magic level of stuff that's not available to the general public they were using.
Yeah, exactly. So how like much after did he keep the blonde for? Just once he was done filming?
Honestly, I don't know, because didn't he was around a little bit after but yeah, I think he probably went back to the brown pretty quickly, because I'm sure he had another movie that didn't want him to be blonde. But yeah, because he was around towards the end of filming, but yeah, I didn't see him too much after that, because he kind of just, once he was done, he left. He went back to LA.
But number 9, we're almost there. We're almost
Almost
there.
there.
All right, number 9. This character snuck into Danny's computer and found her edited picture of Paris.
Ooh, Harper.
Yes. Sneaky. But then again, Danny did like leave her laptop like wide open.
Yeah, literally. She didn't even pause the video.
She was like dipping.
Yeah, she's just like, it's all right, I'm gonna just leave. Imagine
right.
just walking out of your office.
I know, right? Like she was just like, well, then again, she had that special privilege now because she had that sympathy that she could take the mental health day breaks and all that good stuff. And number 10, right? You have 9 for 9 right now. So you're doing great. All right. This is for the win. This character has a pet named Guinea Weasley.
That is Danny.
Yeah. I love how like the guinea pig looked like her, like with the hairstyle. So freaking cute.
Oh my god,
you guys made a TikTok from it.
Yeah, he was so cute. He was played by a guinea pig named Shark, and he is so cute. He was like, honestly, he's my favorite, especially like in post, like all the squeaks and stuff they added, like to make it really seem like the guinea pig was like reacting, because it's like, you know, like there's only so much you can really train like a small animal to do, but like, you know, mostly he was just like calm and like fine to be around large numbers of people, so he was like a great pet actor. But yeah, it's just like funny. He's like easily one of my favorite parts of the movie. I laugh like every time he's on screen or see.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shark the guinea pig.
I don't know, what a name. He doesn't even look like a shark.
I guess with like the hair.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like Princess with that like pretty long hair, but that's not a boy's name either.
So whose guinea pig was it, or did you guys have to like hire someone to bring in?
Yeah, there's a wrangler, guinea pig wrangler.
Of course,
but, yeah, that is funny. They had their own like room too, like that the guinea pig could like chill in between takes, because like obviously like animals need like a more space to cool down than like crew members. They had just like a little quiet, like his little room with like books, like a little library, and he's just like in his little cage, just like munching. It's so cute.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can get into today's conversation. We're super excited. I know we were dishing a little bit about the movie already. Gave you guys a little hint about what we're going to be talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about Not Okay 2022. And Not Okay is available to watch on Hulu. So if you have that subscription, go watch. This discussion will contain spoilers for the film, so if you haven't already seen it, go watch and come back afterwards to hear our thoughts. But like I said, I mean, we kind of spoiled it a little bit earlier, but it is what
Sorry.
it is.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just add a spoiler warning to the beginning.
So you want to tell our audience why we kind of chose to discuss this film, or the reasoning why? I know you kind of like said it a little bit earlier, but maybe like kind of emphasis what your role was in this film.
Yeah. So I worked as Quinn's assistant during prep and production, and then I was the post coordinator throughout the post process. So I very intimately know a lot of the details of this movie and how it was made.
Yeah, the ins and outs. But that's awesome though. So you got assistant credit alongside with like post coordinator credit.
I think like technically in the credits they only listed me as post coordinator. I guess it's technically like a higher credit. But yeah, like I was both really.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you want to give people a little bit of a synopsis about what the film is about?
Yeah, sure. So the main character, Danny, we've been talking about, kind of a mess. She fakes a trip to Paris to get like attention from this guy at work, Colin, who's this like famous weed influencer that she really likes. And while she's like posting, she does like photo editing at work, so she can post these like great stories and everything on her Instagram, really faking that she's there. But she posts this picture in front of the Arc de Triomphe, and then like 5 minutes later in real life, a bomb goes off there. So she kind of is faced with a decision of, should I come clean and tell everyone I've been lying, or should I just lean into this and pretend like I was really there and I was like a victim of this crime, which is what she ends up doing. And yeah, so she's kind of just like getting all this like attention and sympathy from like people, like random people, coworkers, like people, because she's kind of like not really super likable. So people suddenly are giving her all this attention, and it kind of just goes to her head, and it's kind of just like her kind of just traveling down this lie and how it eventually unravels.
Yeah, this story is so unique in how much satire is revolved around, in the end, one specific thing, and it's our generation right now and how we lean towards social media for not just influencers but also like social rallying and like political statements, and also having like people around us that are like I know that Quinn quoted this like a zillion, or like I forget, it's like a millennial, but it's a zillennial Karen.
Millennial.
Zillennial Karen. I love that. But it's just like, you know, that she was also saying, and I really found this interesting, how we all have like a piece of Danny inside of us,
Yes.
whether we see it or not. But like, you know, like I said, especially in today's society with just social media presence, like we're consuming so much information that it all starts to be jumbled into one.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the fact that the way that she like story tells, it's not just like all serious, but there's also like comedy in it.
One of the things, especially like the studio was bumping on a little bit, was like the like first like 15 or so minutes, you know, like kind of before everything before the Paris bombing is like very fun, very funny, very like you're just like, oh, this girl is so like awkward and just like can't read a room, and like I don't know. But then she also like it changes, you know, once she meets Rowan, and once the bombing happens, and once she meets Rowan, and like it kind of gets into these more serious things. And I think there's still like fun moments, like the moments with like Colin and things like that are still like funny. But it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's interesting because it's like, even though she does have the comedic moments, she still handles like the moments like very delicately, like around like all the like PTSD, the trauma, the bombings, like the support group, like those characters all feel very like grounded and real, even if Danny sometimes feels a little bit, you know, crazy compared to them. But it doesn't feel like, I don't know, yeah, it's like it's very interesting that she can kind of have like both of these worlds kind of like coexisting together. And it's really nice. Yeah, I'm trying to think if she specifically told me anything that influenced her on writing it, but I don't think so.
Do you remember how long it took her to write the script? I know she took several years writing the script.
Yeah, I know So the production company Make Ready, I think they kind of optioned the script from her, and then she, I think she kind of pitched them some ideas, and they liked this one, so she worked on developing it, and then it got to a certain point, and they were selling it to kind of like the studios at that point, and eventually they partnered with Searchlight and Fox Searchlight, and they were working. They still though, which is also like crazy part of like the whole like writing whatever process is like. So she sold the script to Searchlight, whatever, they had the agreement to make it, whatever, they were like working out all the details, but she still was rewriting because they had their notes then. And yeah, it's like interesting to see because like there was a draft I read before I started working, like before I had my interview with Quinn, like they gave me I think a draft to read so I could like discuss with her. And I think by the time I got hired, there was already a new draft. The biggest thing was the ending that they wanted to change. And I think I read a couple different versions of the ending. We like edited in a couple different versions. Like the ending, I think was really like the biggest thing everyone kind of had on their mind in terms of changing it. But yeah, like it's like, it's very interesting because it's like, even in post, like you're kind of still sometimes changing the ending, or like a lot of the jokes that appear on screen, like in terms of the like graphics, like text messages or like Instagram comments or things like that. This guy on our post team, Nick, did all the graphics, and he's amazing. He's so funny, and he yeah, like it's literally just like he'd be like changing a joke, like, you know, something would happen in like real life, and we'd be able, like, because it, you know, it's such a long process of editing and stuff, we could like tweak the jokes, like kind of like as we were getting closer and closer to delivering, we could like change what like the image was saying and kind of like change some stuff there. So it's kind of interesting. It really changed my perspective on writing in a sense of that there is so much you still do change and can change in post, especially if you're working with something that is like kind of graphic based. Like you can really kind of be like kind of fine tuning and tweaking these moments. Like, yeah, the script honestly isn't the end all, like be all of writing. It's really the whole process, because it's like, yeah, like the ending that I originally read in the first draft, so different than the ending like that we wrote and Searchlight approved versus the ending that you guys all saw in the movie. So it's kind of crazy.
Now, with these, like, you know, script edits, was Quinn the type of person who was open to, you know, thinking it out day by day and playing out how, you know, you guys would go about each scene? So, like, including the improvisation, if any actors wanted to maybe change a line or maybe felt like something could be executed a different way, like, was she very open to that?
I mean, I think so. I mean, because she definitely like let people improv. I mean, I think she also had her kind of like ideas of how she would want things, but I think she was also very open to getting like multiple kind of options. So it's like, you know, let the actors try things their way, let them try things the way she wants them, and then, you know, I think she was like trying to give herself the most in the edit room so that like when she got there, she could kind of see what was working, what wasn't working. So I think, yeah, that's like something like valuable I learned from her, is just like try to get all the options, you know, yes, get like what you want, your vision, but also be open to the actors like vision, because you don't know like at the end of the day in the edit room what's going to cut together the best. So it's like better to just have as many options as possible and like be open to like what other people are trying to like, you know, think about the character and things like that.
I love to hear that, because it's so true. When you're making your own film, like even when you're shooting your own content, just in general, you want to like more footage is the best option. You want to get as much footage as you can, because it's like, what's the harm in that? That you get more content that you expected. You know, maybe you get something in there that you weren't expecting to capture, and you know, they say less is more, but not in this aspect. I think more is better,
Yeah.
for the chance that you have more to play with.
Yeah. Well, it's like worst case, you just don't use it. And it's like, all right, you wasted like 2 minutes, maybe. I don't know. But maybe you didn't. Maybe it's the best take of the day and you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did you know of Quinn prior to working on this job for her film that she had previously directed back in 2017?
I actually did not know Quinn or know of her. I basically I got recommended to the job through I'd worked with the production supervisor before on a couple projects, and he knew I was trying to get more into the creative side because I was like a producer's assistant for a couple of years, and he was like, hey, like I'm going to do this movie, the director needs an assistant, like like you're both writers, why don't you send me your resume, let's like I'll set something up. And the interview just was like really chill. It was like basically just like a conversation. I mean, I looked up Quinn before the interview, and I think I watched like half of Blame before because I was trying to just like get as much to talk to her about as I could. I think I like read the script. I like watched half of Blame, and it was like a really short time frame. It was like I got the meeting like it's like the next morning. Like I was talking to the guy the night, and then it's like the next morning. So I was like trying to just get as much, and like I was working too, so I was like trying to just get as much in there as I could. And it was really just like a conversation. Like I was just like, oh, it just like literally feels like we're just like we're like just talking about like writing and like whatever. Like it's like I think like she asked me a couple of questions in the beginning, and then we were literally just talking about like Blame and writing and like I don't know, like ourselves and whatever. And it just it was just really natural.
Wow,
And
that's
then
awesome.
yeah.
No, it's nice to like just like have those types of conversations with people that don't feel like they have to be professional. And it doesn't seem like she's the type who is like very like things have to be professional all the time. Like she let that like just like the stressless energy flow and just like more I guess fun, like creating more of a fun environment and to like really set the tone on like a good positive level.
Yeah, no, she's definitely very like casual. Like it's like it was definitely like funny because like sometimes she'd be like, oh, like am I your favorite boss or something, and it's just like you don't even feel like a boss, like you just feel like a friend. So I was like I can't even like answer that because you don't like I don't know, not that it's like and it's not like oh I didn't like respect her or anything, obviously I like respect the shit out of her, she's amazing. But yeah, no, she's just very like she's very open, very friendly, and I mean, I think it's good, like as a creative, it's like, I don't know, like you can just get on that level with people and be like emotional connecting and like kind of like vulnerable, I guess. Yeah, vulnerable and kind of sharing your vision and sharing like things and like, I don't know, like it was just, she's just a good person.
Now, do you think that because you guys are similar in age, we're all in our 20s or in our late 20s, but do you feel like because of that like you could connect to her on a different level?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I guess like that's probably true because I think she probably is the closest in age to me, like boss that I've had. She's a few years younger than me, which at first I was a little nervous because I was like, but it's also just like she got her start in the industry like so much earlier than me. Like she started as a child actress. It's like she's literally has like a decade of experience like on me, which is just like impressive. And it's like the fact that she used her time as like an actress to really kind of just like absorb what it's like to be on set and see like, oh, like I want to be a creative, I want to be directing, I want to be writing, I want to be like the one telling the story, like, and just really like using her time and experience on set to learn like how the camera works, how this works, how that works, and just really get the lingo. Like she's very like I feel like a lot of people like are like, oh, she's like a writer or she's like an actress that became a writer director, like whatever, and like want to write her off. But it's like no, she like knows to a very technical level. Like she can have like conversations I don't even have the knowledge to have with like the DP about like anamorphic lenses and like certain like details of the lighting that she like really knows her stuff. She's very smart. And like I don't know, it's just like she's just an impressive person I think to learn from. And it's like I mean it also is nice, I guess, like the younger age thing of like we could talk about TikTok, which came up a lot. And like I don't know, like it is nicer. Like I think the line like Rowan has where it's like, oh, it's nice if someone can help explain TikTok to all the boomers. It's just like, no, it's nice. But I mean, I don't think it was any different. Like I think it's like I think honestly even more so than some other directors that I've seen like working, like I'm like she knows what she wants, she has the decision, she has the research, she has the facts to back it up, like she comes prepared, she comes correct, she knows everything, she's not there like wasting the crew's time because she can't make a decision, like she knows what she wants. And yeah, and I don't know, maybe it's because she's younger, maybe she feels in some way, I don't even know though if it's like she feels like she has to prove herself. It just feels like it's very much a part of who she is. Like she just has this creativity, this vision, and it just like kind of comes out naturally, I think.
Wow, that's so incredible to hear, like how much creativity she has behind everything that she has been working on. Like honestly, she's smart to even think that like from a young age that she could be making her own films. Like I know I started acting at a young age, and then, once I got into college, I realized, oh shit, like I could actually be learning to like be behind the camera and be my own director and direct what I want to make. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's interesting that like she was able to use her college fund, or like part of her college fund, to make her debut film and then become the youngest to premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival. Like that is such a big accomplishment, and I feel like she's just beginning in her career. Like she's definitely going to be coming out with some very unique and inspirational stuff. It feels like, with her momentum that she has and like just her messaging behind her films, I feel like she has more to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm like really interested to see, she's like working on a show now, that's filming in Vancouver, and I think it's gonna come out. I have to ask them because I know the schedule got delayed. So I'm not sure the new like release date. It's gonna also through Hulu. Hulu seems to really love her. But it's a show. It's like a true crime show about like a murder that happened in Vancouver area in the 90s. It's called Under the Bridge. It's based on a book, and so it's just interesting. Like she chooses these stories that have very like, I don't know, like relevant themes and stuff, and like I don't know, like it's like everything she picks, it's like, oh yeah, there's a reason, like people should be hearing this story. Like I guess she just has a very good ear and very good like taste for that kind of stuff, and like what she should develop and like make into something. I'm really excited to see Under the Bridge. I know she's directing a couple, I think one or two of the episodes too. So I'm like, I've been like, I've been like wanting to text her. I like been stalking her Instagram, just like looking. I'm like, oh, and I like text her a little bit, but I'm like, I know you're directing right now. I don't want to bother you. It looks so cool. I'm excited to see how it comes out though, because the book was also, she didn't write the book, but she knew the author very well. And yeah, I'm excited to see like how it comes out, because I'm just like knowing, like I don't know, like watching Not Okay again for this, and like just being like, oh, I still like love this movie. Like I'm just excited to see like what she can do with a whole like 8 episode miniseries.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so she's writing and she's directing some episodes for that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's like one of the showrunners, so I think she's probably writing a few of the episodes and then kind of like overseeing. They have a whole like writers room.
Wow, that's incredible. Well,
Yeah.
yes, like I said, I keep seeing her coming out with some great stuff. I love how she's really trying to push out messages that need to be heard. She's young. So she's honestly like, I can see her winning an Oscar down the road, like for real.
Yeah, no,
Like
I
she
feel like
has
she
that
will.
potential.
I think she will, because it's like I don't know, like even just like watching it again, I was just like I still like I don't know, like there's no movie I've seen as many times, I think, as Not Okay at this point, and just been like every time like I'm like there's still something here that I can like get out of this. Besides maybe like Mean Girls. I've watched that movie a lot also, but I don't know if I've had a different appreciation for it every time that I've seen it the same way that I do with Not Okay.
Yeah, no, for real. That's what I was saying. Like the second time that I watched it, I completely got a different aspect. I feel like I still laugh out loud every time I watch it too. And like certain things that I might have not laughed at the first time, I laughed at the second time around. Cause it's like, when you're like slow at like catching jokes. That's
Yeah.
like me sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I was slow on that one. I got
Yeah.
it the second time though.
No, yeah, like I feel like she has a lot of like quick stuff like that, like woven in too, and you're just like, oh wait, like you're watching it the second time, and you're just like, oh shit, I missed that completely.
Exactly. Well, this film centers a lot with social media, right? And you guys really utilize social media. Whose idea was to take into account TikTok and using that for marketing?
Honestly, I think like Quinn and Zoe both kind of had that idea. Like I know, and I know it was like a struggle. We were like, it was such an ordeal to get it all, like everything approved through like Searchlight, and they had to like, I forget, but they had to like get the social media handles and then like hand them off to us. It was like such a process. I was like literally just like, this is so funny. But yeah, like they were definitely, it was always like a conversation, even during like prep. Like we were like, we should be filming like TikToks in between takes, and we should be like, and I can't remember exactly how. I think Quinn must have found Reese on TikTok and shown him to Searchlight and been like, we need this guy like to come do our TikToks. And yeah, it worked well. It was just like funny too, because like just like talking to him, like because I was on TikTok a lot during it, because like, you know, just trying to keep up with the trends, whatever, to like suggest stuff. And like I'd go to Reese and I'd be like, oh hey, did you see this like new transition that came out? Like maybe we could do something like that. And then he'd be like, oh yeah, like, and he'd have like the 10-step more evolved idea of my idea. And I was just like, oh, this guy knows like what he's talking about. Like he just knows everything. And yeah, like it's been so exciting to just like watch him like grow from like working on our film. And like obviously the TikToks were like super successful, some of them. And yeah, like it's crazy literally just like see like now it's like, oh yeah, he's just like hosting the Oscars sometimes, or like on red carpets, or like all this stuff. I'm just like, go Reese. He's the best. He's
Yeah.
honestly the nicest guy. So I'm so happy for him.
He has created the role that everyone wants now on set.
Yeah.
Is to be able to come out with social media content as like a promotional way for people to get to know your film and to get to know your characters a little bit more. I think it's really smart, and I really think that film should be utilizing it a lot more. I know that he's currently working on, or was up until now working on, the Screen film and helping them with their social media promotion. But
Yeah.
it's so cool to see that like all it really is utilizing these trends and making it just reflect on like your film. And you guys did that a lot. I was studying the social media account and you guys followed the trends. You guys were able to use those trends in your own way that reflect the movie. Like it's very well done. Now, was Reese in charge of all of these social media videos, or who took responsibility creating these videos?
It honestly was pretty equal between like Zoe, Quinn, Reese, like pretty much anyone. Like if anyone had an idea, like, you know, like I could even be like, oh hey, did you see this or whatever? Like, you know, it was very like collaborative. It was just like, because it was really just like us kind of doing it on the side, because it's not like the studio, like, you know, it's like you need to get like 10 TikToks a day or whatever. Like, you know, like no one knew like what this was or like how useful it could be. So it was kind of just like, you know, like whenever they had time between takes, and like especially like if it was a day like Dylan was there, for instance, like just because his social media presence is so low, like, and we'd want to get like as much stuff as possible with like him in it. So it was like, you know, some days were a little more weighted, or like, you know, there was like, I think there was a day like we had to wait because of a thunderstorm or something, and so we were just like filming TikToks in like the corner. Um, but yeah, like just any kind of time there was like spare time. And I know there was also Zoe's assistant Ava like kind of helped with some of that too. Like I think Zoe honestly like thought of a lot of ideas too. She was really like into it, which I think was also like one of the best parts of it, is like the cast was super into it, because I think it's like a weird thing, because I feel like it's not like social media isn't, it's in their contract sometimes, like, you know, it's like, oh, like they'll do X amount of posts or this or that. And I think we were lucky in that like all of the cast members were very willing to like be on the TikTok, and they didn't want to make it like a whole thing where it had to go like through the agents and this and that, like whatever. I mean, like they all got final approval on stuff. Like we didn't post anything without anyone's permission or anything like that. But like it wasn't like, you know, like, oh, like, yeah, well, I'll only do like 2 posts about the movie on my like TikTok, and then I won't like whatever, you know, like it's like, or you have to pay me to be in that TikTok. Like they were very just like amenable to just doing it in their downtime and like experimenting and just trying to see if it could like what it could become. And I think like it's something that other films are going to try to emulate, I think, because it's, I mean, I think other films already are trying to emulate it, because it's, yeah, it was just like literally, and I think you could feel it in a way like how organic it was. It was like literally just like like, you know, they were just goofing around. It's like friends goofing around, which is like what, you know, TikTok started kind of as. And yeah, and it's funny too, because people would recognize, like I remember people would come up to us like on the street, we'd be filming, and they'd be like, you're the movie from TikTok. They just like recognize like, you know, Zoe or Quinn or like whoever, and they're just like, you guys are that TikTok movie. And we're just like, yeah, not okay, come watch us, we'll be on Hulu.
Did you see that having that social media presence really did benefit the marketing of this film?
Yeah, I mean, the marketing honestly happened a lot after I was out, but I know like we did have some like billboards and stuff like that. And I know like we posted a lot during production because like we had access to everyone we were filming. And it's just like another funny thing where people don't necessarily maybe understand the film industry because they're just like for instance, like, you know, like if we weren't posting Dylan for a couple of days, like where is he? You like keeping him in the closet or something? It's like, no, like he's not on set today, like he's not working. He's like, you know, he's free to do whatever he wants. Or like when we wrapped, like they'd be like, why aren't you guys posting as much anymore? Because it maybe be like once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever. And it's just like we just don't, like everyone's gone and like filming other movies and stuff. Like we're not all together. Or like we'd post something from post, which is of course not as exciting because it's all of us just like sitting in front of computers. And they're just like, we don't want to see this.
I think that honestly, like it really did help with your publicity. I saw a lot of more people talking about it when your TikToks did start shooting off, especially the Dylan O'Brien TikTok that really skyrocketed. There was a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of momentum.
people were commenting constantly, even when we weren't posting. People would be commenting on it and just be like, when's the movie coming out, like asking us questions, like always, where's Dylan, can I see Dylan, more Dylan, always about Dylan, everyone's obsessed. um and there were certain fans too that were kind of like super fans that would comment literally on like everything. And I know like I think Reese did most of the commenting back to people, but yeah, like he would like have certain fans that he'd have little kind of like jokes and stuff with that he'd go back and forth with because they literally comment. And it's funny because I think Quinn posted me on like her Instagram story once, and a couple of them followed me. And I was just like, oh, because it was like so funny because it's like, I was like, you're looking for something cool here, but I'm literally not going to post anything. But I was like, I know your name from TikTok. You're one of the TikTok fans. And you're following me. I think
It's
someone still do.
wild, yeah.
I was going through my followers the other day, and like, because some of them were just like picture. It's like all pictures of like Dylan O'Brien. I'm just like, there's still like a group of them that just follow me, and I'm like, they probably are just like, this is so boring. It's just pictures of your cat. It's not what I like signed up
I love
for.
it. It's Felix. Felix is a model.
He
We
is a
all know
model.
that. What is something that was memorable to you that you learned from the set?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like being around Quinn and like her creativity every day, I think I kind of learned that I want to prioritize like creativity in my life, and I really want to try to focus my career more towards something creative. Like I think it gave me that push of like, instead of like kind of like having my like day job in production and be like writing on the side, like try to figure out some sort of way to move more towards something in the creative realm, like, you know, in development or something like that. So it's given me like, I don't know, I guess more of an appreciation and more of like wanting to prioritize that like creativity in my life.
That's interesting that you say that because that's definitely something that I'm trying to work on as well. And that we do get sucked into when we're in this industry is that we start tending to work for other people. And not to
Yeah.
say that's a bad thing, you know, we're all creatives, we all like collaborating, but sometimes we forget about what we want to create and the stories that we want to tell. And then we
Yeah.
don't put enough time into that for ourselves. So like I don't know, like reformatting that in your brain and being like, no, actually, like, let me put time into myself. Like, let me put time into this craft. Like, let me make something that it's mine, you know?
Mhm.
Because, you know, it's so like hard to say this, but like, you know, we have time flies or like time passes us and we think that like, we talk about these films, right? And we think about certain ways that these films could have been told, right? And we're like, oh well, if I told this film, like I would have said it, or I would have done it this way and this way. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like, okay, then like put in that effort to tell your story, to make your film so
Yeah.
people can see like your version of things, you know, because we're all unique in our own ways in the way that we tell our stories.
Yeah, no, it's like it's interesting because it's like, especially I think with the NYC Midnight thing, it's so interesting because it's like you'll be put in a group of like 15 or 20 or whatever other writers, and you're given the same prompt, the same like three things, you know, same prompt, theme, whatever character, and just to see the different ways that everyone takes it and how everyone kind of has a different like thematic approach or a different like interpretation or like, yeah, just to see like, because I remember I got one, it was like one of the ones when I did it was like had to be a spy movie in a hotel, and it had to have a hot dog in it. And like they couldn't even just mention hot dog, like you had to physically see a hot dog. And I was just like, the only thing I could think of, I was like, it's a comedy spy movie, like it's not a real spy movie. So I was like, okay, they're at a hotel, they're at the hot dog convention at the hotel, and there's hamburger spies are trying to infiltrate or whatever. And it was just so ridiculous. But like other people literally like just wrote like straight spy movies, and I was just like, how did you think of any idea that had anything to do like seriously with a hot dog in it? But people did, like most of them were very serious. Like mine was one of the few that was like kind of like a comedy, at least based on the title. But yeah.
And that's why it's so great to like collaborate with people and to like have these sort of writers groups, because you guys can like feed off of each other and like share ideas, and then you could even come up with another new idea that's transformed because you had inspiration from other people's ideas. It's like just you can play with it so much.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, I just love the collaboration and the, like making movies and like the industry in general. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't know if I could do like a corporate job or something, because it just doesn't seem like it's as like collaborative, like community feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when it comes to film, like what initially made you gravitate towards this industry and make you like stay? Because I know a lot of people like, you know, think that they enter the film industry and then they decide like this isn't for them, you know, this isn't their 9 to 5 ideal job.
Yeah, no, it definitely can burn you out. But I guess like, I don't know, like I always wanted to be in the industry since I was like, I think in like third grade. So what is that, like 8 or 10 or something? I got my first camera. I must have just been like annoying the shit out of my parents. And I would like direct like my sister mostly, 'cause she was more outgoing than me, in little like dumb short films that like, you know, it's nothing great because it was made by like a literal grade schooler. And yeah, I just like went from there. Like I was always kind of like writing or making something, or yeah, and then I guess just got into it in college, like kept going in college professionally. And I don't know, like it's like funny because sometimes I do feel like burnt out and tired, but I'm like, I literally don't know what else I would do with my life. So I'm just here, even though I'm tired. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like hoping switching to the creative side will hopefully make it feel a little newer and less tiring, but we'll see.
What advice would you give yourself now, looking back at your experience now? Like if you could tell your eighth grade self, like what it would be, your journey here today, like what would you say to yourself?
Oh gosh. I feel like I would tell myself to focus more on like my art versus my grades. Like that's what's most important to me. Focus on being like a creative person and doing things that like I love and I want to do, versus like something that might be expected, you know, from like parents, get good grades, go to this good college, like that kind of thing. Like I'd want to give myself more freedom to earlier on have been like bold and been like, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm just gonna push for that and not care as much about like the other stuff. It doesn't really matter as much to me.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. I know that like I struggled with school for some time and I was about to like not graduate. I was about to be like, fuck school. Like I'm so over it. But also you like, yeah, like utilizing your time and spending it on your just like your creative aspirations that you have.
Yeah.
Spend more time on yourself. That's
yeah,
like the initial
that's the thing. Yeah. I like still am learning that. One day.
It's the burnout. It's just so much. It's just you know, we got to pay the bills, so sometimes that ends up taking priority because I got to pay the bills, but
yeah,
you know, it's nice to have that balance. I
yeah.
honestly, because I was such like in this, I don't know, mindset where I felt like I was in auto mode. You know when you just feel like you're just like literally in auto mode. and you're like, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I get out of this like tense like feeling? And I feel like meditation, like, and it's just like not even just sitting and meditating, but it's like confirming that like you're present, you're here, you're taking it day by day, has like really made me feel better about my mornings and how I go about it. Cause I've been feeling like very like in this industry, like burnout is definitely a thing. Like you can really burn out because of like the hours that you work. Like how have you seen yourself taking care of yourself and dealing with burnout?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I need to get back on the bandwagon a bit with it, but I started doing have you ever read The Artist Way?
No.
It's I haven't either because I only got one so I'm very bad at following through on things apparently. But one of the like first kind of things they teach you, it's all about like reconnecting with your creativity and kind of like keeping that creativity alive. And the first kind of chapter is really talking about every morning, like when you first wake up, just taking like 30 minutes and like writing like 3 pages, just like whatever comes to your brain, just like dumping it out. And it's like, it's interesting because a lot of it is like, yeah, like it's a lot of things that kind of like are sitting like in your subconscious in the back of your mind that you maybe aren't consciously thinking about, but like are weighing on you. And it was really helpful. Like I was doing it for a couple weeks and I was just like, I really did like notice a change in myself of like, oh, I do feel less stressed out because I kind of like just got all these kind of like negative feelings out, or like it forced me to like think about them. And then I knew what I wanted to do because I was like kind of analyzing what I was like secretly thinking about. And yeah, I don't know. I need to get back on the bandwagon with it because it was just so helpful. I'm just so not a morning person. I'm always like up like 5 minutes before my first meeting. So I'm like, I need to do better and wake up. But yeah, no, I found it was like really helpful. And it also talked about too doing, which I hadn't had a chance to do one of them yet, but it was like once a week doing like a little artist date where you kind of just like take yourself out to like, you know, a museum or like whatever and just like spend time like with yourself and like kind of just like getting your like opinion, your feeling, like nurturing that like part of you that like craves the art, like go to a gallery and just look at the art and like just let yourself sit for like an hour and just like have an opinion about all the different art and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like that kind of stuff, like I think, yeah, that and like therapy, just a lot of like self-analyzing, I feel like has been a lot of good self-care of like just like how does this brain work and how can I make it work better.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I should definitely try that. I know that I've been writing in my journal a lot more than what I used to. I just like write like every morning what I'm grateful for. Joe Jonas said that he does it every morning. So I'm like, Joe Jonas is doing it every morning. I have to do it every morning. But it's been helping me like be just like I said, in the moment and be grateful for where I am at. Like, you know, I am a true believer that everything happens for a reason. But like going back on like what you were saying on like, you know, visiting museums, like immersing yourself in art as a creative, like honestly, I think it's like the best feel as well. It's like we have to recharge, right? And like what better way to recharge ourselves than to like get inspiration from other artists.
No, totally. And just like, yeah, I think even just like going out and like seeing it and just like being like, okay, yeah, this is why they did that. This is like, you know, whatever. Like it's just like, okay, they did it. I could do it. I'll be here soon.
Exactly. We're all gonna get there one day. You know, this is only the beginning. All in all, I really like the themes about the film, the themes about the dominance of social media culture in today's society and how it affects the way that we see the world, the way that white female privilege manifests itself in social media, the way that white women have presented activism that is based in the exploitation and work of Black women. That's something like goes hand in hand with like that TikTok side of things. And also, you know, we see that in Rowan's character and Danny's character. I thought that's like very like symbolic. Like there's a lot of thought in these characters. Like Quinn,
well, I guess on that note too of like, I don't think, which I'm like, I don't know if this is just me being like a dumb reader when I read it, but like I forget at one point, but there was one of the watch throughs where it just really hit me like how exactly that Danny was using Rowan's words, like literally almost word for word. And I was just like, oh no, she literally like stole, like, it's not even like paraphrase, like she stole like exactly from this girl, like shamelessly, and then like asked her to retweet it. It's like, I don't know, I still get goosebumps like when that part comes on, like, because I'm just like, oh, like it's just so like shitty, like, and she has no conscience about just like blatantly stealing from this other girl. Yeah, like it was just, I don't know, I thought it was just like a really good like representation of that, because I was just like, wow, like, yeah, she literally stole like word for word, and it's like something that totally could happen like in everyday, like in our real life. Like I'm sure it happens all the time to like Black artists and creators, and it's just like fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up and we see it. And like this is like literally blatantly telling us straightforward of how it is, you know, and we're like, damn. And I noticed that too the second time that I watched it, is that like she just reposts it without reading it. And without reading the fact that she did take her words word from word, you know, she took her work and she took her experiences. And what she does, like, you have a sympathy towards Danny because like how it, you know, all comes crumbling down and the pain that she's in, but also it's like, damn, like if you think about it, it's pretty fucked up that you lied about this, and that, you know, how Harper says like, Danny, people died here. Like it's true. It's like this insensitiveness that you had towards the situation, but also like you start seeing that, you know, possibly she is changing.
Yeah, that's the
But
hard
you don't
part.
get that.
She does, it feels like she starts to change, and I think that's why, like, because it's like, yeah, like you don't want to feel bad for her, but you do feel a little bit, because you're like, no, like she actually was like learning, she actually was maybe starting to become a good person, and then it all gets like yanked out, which it's like not like it's undeserving, because it's like obviously like it's super fucked up what she did, and there's no like excusing it, but yeah, like you're just like, I don't know. And I think that was like a big point for Quinn of like, you know, keeping her unlikable and not making her the hero at the end of the day, and just letting her kind of like slink off into the darkness, and just like letting her really not get redeemed. I think it was really
Yeah,
important.
like the no redemption card, like, you know, there's no coming back from this, you know.
Yeah. No, because you can't. I mean, if you think about it, like anyone who has like any of these big like cancel scandals, it's like you did something that's so horrible and everyone knows about it. There's no way to come back.
You know who I just saw who was canceled, and I just saw them on a Netflix documentary of like
Oh my
the
God.
MH370? Freaking Shane Dawson. I'm like, wasn't he canceled? Why is he on here?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like those people, like all those like canceled YouTubers like come back around, and I'm just like, why? Like wasn't there the guy who was like boxing too, like Logan Paul or something? Wasn't he also
Oh
canceled?
yeah.
I was just boxing, and people are like, oh, it's okay because he gets hit in the face. It's just like, is it though? He's probably getting a lot of money to get hit in the face.
So going on an interview that I saw of Shephard, she stated that she wants audiences to think critically about social media culture as a result of the movie, saying, quote, in terms of what I hope people take away from the film, it's definitely not, quote, throw your phone in the ocean, or, quote, social media is indicative of the end times. I think we can all use a healthy dose of a critical eye when it comes to how we consume social media and how it impacts our offline lives, as well as how it can inhibit our empathy and understanding of others through the safety of only experiencing them through a screen. In terms of online cancellation, I hope that the film triggers a bigger conversation about how we hold people responsible without sending them death threats, which is so true. Like
Yeah.
the way that people get canceled, or even like the hate online, I feel like it's so extreme.
Yeah. No, like I feel like people get doxxed for like nothing, and it's just like, I don't know. Like I'm like, you people are like paying to find these people's like names and addresses and phone numbers. Like get a life. Like I don't know. You can call someone out for something they're saying without putting them like physically in like harm's way. And it's like, I don't know, like yeah, granted people have a lot of dumb opinions on the internet, but like most of them aren't worth like endangering the person's actual like life and well-being over, you know, like it's like, yeah, like what Danny did was fucked up. Does she deserve to have like people shoot up her house or something? Probably not. You know, like two wrongs don't necessarily make a right.
Well, there's a significant scene too that plays into this is when someone releases her address on a YouTube video and she has to move in with her parents.
Yeah.
Because of that, because it's like a safety hazard. I'm like, who would do that? But
Yeah,
that's something that
happens.
honestly happens.
Yeah. No,
And
it does
so
all the time for like way less than what Danny did. Like I feel like, especially like as a woman on the internet, like I feel like in places like Reddit, whatever, if you have an opinion that doesn't like agree with people, or even Twitter, like certain parts of Twitter, if you don't agree, like they'll just find your name and address and like post it. It's like, here you go, here's your email, send her a bunch of spam. And it's like, it makes me feel good about the time I like accidentally signed my, or not accidentally, I on purpose signed my ex up for DSW rewards because we needed an extra person to sign up. And I was like, here's his email. I don't care if he gets a bunch of spam about shoes. Innocent fun compared to doxing someone. Like, geez.
Yeah, no, it's just wild. Speaking on also like the YouTube videos, how did you guys produce them? Like, did you guys get people to come on set and make the like quote unquote YouTube videos that Danny was watching, or how did you guys work that out?
It was a combination of, we had some relationships with like people like we reached out to on social media. Yeah, so for the videos, some of them like were influencers and like stuff kind of like we could kind of direct them, give them ideas like best dressed. We gave her like, you know, the idea, like we told her kind of like some ideas, and she sent us kind of like, they kind of just sent us like, you know, 10 or 15 minutes of like self-created content that had to do like with the movie. Like some of them we like had read the script and stuff like that. Some of them it was just like kind of like, oh, do something like this, or you know, you really hate Danny Sanders, like this is why you hate Danny, and they kind of just like riff. Some of it was like the one girl, we actually licensed the clip of she was talking about like another YouTuber, like a makeup YouTuber that got canceled. So we just like found a clip where it's like she was acting like she was the victim and it turned a lot of people off to her, like the soundbite just worked. So we just like paid for that already existing clip. But yeah, and there was just a lot of kind of, it was hard. The like weird thing about it was like, so like, yes, it was for the movie, which we were like a union studio production. It was like a weird, tricky gray area in terms of like they were filming themselves. So it was like, we got I think Local 600 gave us an exemption since they were like, literally like we're like, there's no crew, there's nothing, like they're just filming themselves. Like we don't need to send like a camera, like union camera guy. And I think we like had someone like technically like supervising them or something for like the days, because it's like, yeah, like whatever makes the union happy, like we will do. And yeah, it was like interesting though, because it was just like, yeah, like it's like, all right, this guy's supervising them, like film themselves. Like I don't even know if they actually like talked or anything, because I wasn't that involved with it. But yeah, it's just like funny, because it's like some of the things of like unions are great, love them, but then it's like, yeah, sometimes it just makes something like so extra complicated, because it's like, oh, technically, well, it's like then like, you know, if the camera guy's there, the gaffer's gonna want to be there, and then this guy's gonna want to be there, that guy's gonna want to be there. It's gonna be a whole big thing. It's like, no, they're literally just filming themselves for 10 minutes saying like, I hate Danny Sanders, like that they normally would do on their YouTube channel. Like it's literally like their same setup that they're just doing, and
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big a deal. Like they do this every day. Like they're just doing us a favor, because that sequence got like expanded a lot in post. Like that whole opening sequence with all the memes and stuff like really got expanded in post. And yeah, because I think the doxing, we went back and forth a little bit too. I think there was some reason we couldn't do it on Twitter, so it had to be on YouTube. It might have been like a legal thing, clearance. Yeah. So it was like last minute kind of switched to being a YouTube doxing, because I feel like it's kind of a random place to dox someone. But yeah,
I'm sure people do it.
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure, like, because I don't think anyone's like, I mean, not that people are like writing in about the movie, but I don't think that's a criticism that I've seen of like, you can't dox someone on YouTube. But yeah.
How was like the day in the life of being Quinn's assistant? Like, how would you say like the majority of your day revolved around? Like, what were your responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was different, I guess, prep through production, but yeah, like it's a lot of just keeping like her schedule, because like, yeah, she had a ton of meetings. Honestly, making sure she ate, making sure she saved time to eat. Like I'd try to save her like at least like 30 minutes for lunch every day where she could just eat and no one would talk to her. She usually would take that and then take her lunch and go talk to someone and like have a meeting anyway. But I tried as hard as I could. And then just also trying to like make sure she has like a balance of like stuff she needs for like her physical or like mental health, whatever. Just make sure she has breaks, make sure she can see her friends, like that kind of stuff. Because I think she wouldn't always 100% like prioritize that, because it's like for her, like the movie is her baby, it's coming first, like, you know. But like it's like, okay, yes, but you need to also take care of yourself so you can continue making the movie. But like I mean, it wasn't like a lot of crazy stuff, and it's like I got to sit in on like a lot of the meetings with her with a lot of like the creative people, which was like just really cool to like listen in, and then like go on all the scouts, that kind of stuff on set, just making sure she always had like food, water, if it was like hot, cold, whatever, just like anything she kind of needed. And kind of just trying to think of like just anticipate, a lot of anticipating of like what she could potentially need. Like it's like, okay, like she's not hungry or thirsty right now, but in like an hour she might be. So like making sure there's like a snack in like the pocket of her chair, so when she like, you know, turns around and is hungry, you're like, oh, here's like 5 snacks, you can pick what you want. I don't know, it's just kind of a lot of like, yeah, like making sure she didn't have to think about anything besides like what she was literally doing.
Oh, wow. That's like
Yeah.
a lot of like extra thinking, like things
Yeah.
that she might not be thinking, but you're thinking to like help her out in any way that you can.
Yeah. No, literally. It's funny. She has a tendency to like she'll put something down and then like walk away from it and forget where she put it. So like a lot of it was just like I'd see like her binder and just be like, all right, I'm gonna go put this back like in her chair. Because like I know she's gonna be looking for it in like 10 minutes. Or just like carrying it and following her, like, you know, just being like, all right, I know she's gonna like either that or her phone is gonna go missing, and as long as I like have some vague idea of where it might be. But yeah, like it's just like she has so many things moving all at once, like it's like, yeah, like of course you can't keep track of anything, like you are literally like running the entire brain of this movie, like just the like depth of detail and like knowledge she would know about like every department. It's like, yeah, no, it makes sense. Like I will totally make sure you're like fed and watered and show up where you need to on time, and anything, like I will hold all of the things and just hand them to you.
Wow, that's awesome though. Like I can only imagine how busy she was on the daily, and like to keep track of everything she's doing on top of keeping track of like what you got to do too is a lot. But
Yeah.
it also helps when you have a good relationship with the director that you're working with, and that you don't feel like it's sort of like intimidation. Because I know like sometimes like working with certain people of level, like you have like this intimidation feel because they are higher up, and you know, because you are trying to do the best job that you can do, it's just like you feel like you're walking on eggshells a little bit. But it
Yeah.
seems to me like you were very like open to, you know, help in whatever way that you could, you know, support her in any way, but also having that like good relationship, it made you want to keep doing more and more.
Yeah, no, totally. Like I think it's definitely worth it. Like I feel like if I ever get to the point I have an assistant of just like treating them like a person, because I feel like it's like, yeah, like it really does, like if you're just like, oh, this is like my friend that I'm like trying to help with something, like versus like, it's my boss I'm trying to like help with something, like it's definitely like, I don't know, like, yeah, like it's just like, oh my god, I literally, I think I actually know I did, I had my backpack with like my computer and like my personal stuff, and then I had this tote bag that I was carrying around set with literally just extra stuff I was bringing in case she would need it, because like we were shooting in August, so like as you know, hot, humid, disgusting in New York. Like there was literally days like the medic was coming around with like ice packs for people because it was just so hot. And I had like little like squirty fans and like all different things like that, the little like towels you can put in their like cold, like, you know, like get them wet in their cold, and like just anything that like she might need or we might need, or like I don't know, if someone handed something to us once that was like an exciting prop, it was just in there for the rest of the shoot. Snacks, like like so many things. Like I was like, this is like my Quinn bag. It's just like things she might need, snacks she might need. Just yeah, like, you know, because it's, that's the thing is like I think too a lot of people don't realize of like when you're a certain position on set, it's like you can't, you know, like if she's hungry she can't step to go to crafty, like she's constantly being asked questions, like you know, like she can't move like from that chair. Like she's there and she's, you know, like she maybe like gets to go to the bathroom during lunch and that's like it. Like she doesn't really get a lot of opportunity to like take care of herself. So it's a lot of like, yeah, just trying to make sure like she has everything she needs to be comfortable and doing like the best job she could be doing. Cause it's like the more she's focused on that, like, you know, our day is going to go better, faster, whatever. She's giving her energy to that and not being hungry or like hangry, cranky, like, you know, like, it's so hot, I can't think. It's like, nope, here's your squirty fan.
Yeah, no, having any sort of like assistant that just like you guys can work. It's like a partnership, I feel like. Not even just like an assistant, but like just partnership where you're like, you guys just can work off each other. And it's like, yeah, you might have a higher title and this person is just assisting you, but there's just such a good relationship that like, you know, whatever you need, they got you, and vice versa. It's like the relationship that you had with Quinn. It's like you were such a great assistant because you were looking out for her. You know, you were making sure that she had what she needed at all times and then going above and beyond. And I feel like that is what a good relationship in the industry as an assistant, that's what you need with your director or even producer. Like that's what makes our lives easier in those roles because of how much more that you have to worry about. So someone eliminating even just a little bit of that and you can rely on them to do that, that is just like such a freaking plus, you know, and it is hard to find.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's like, I feel like sometimes too, it almost ends up like, because I feel like it's like a lot of the time I used to think about it of like, you're kind of taking on like whatever's stressing out your boss, like, you know, like whatever kind of aspect of their job that they just don't have the bandwidth for, you're kind of taking it on, which is like cool because you get to learn a lot, like too, like I've been thrown like headfirst in the clearances with like no experience, just like diving in, just like, all right, I'm like double checking that everything is like clear to be in the movie. And I mean, you learn like you learn pretty quickly, like just jumping in or like payroll or something like that. But it's like, yeah, like I don't know, it's like you kind of just have to be a little bit open and adaptable because it's like you never know, like especially if it's a newer boss or like somebody you haven't worked with, like you never know like what they're, or even the projects. It's like even working with Carrie, like on a couple of different jobs, it's like one job it was clearances, the other job it was SAG payroll. Like it's like it depends like what the pressure point is on that specific job that producer is going to need help with, and then like you're just like willing to jump in and just like learn. Like I think as long as like for an assistant, like a key of like just wanting to jump in, willing to do anything, just willing to learn and just take on like whatever that stress point is of your boss, and just like, you know, because it's like, yeah, like sure, like, you know, like on the one hand, yeah, it's like you're managing schedules or making sure people eat, blah, 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 whatever, making sure people get on the call. But like the other part of it is like, yeah, like you want to keep things running as smooth and take any stress you can like out of their lives as well. Yeah,
that's like key point. She is giving you like the guide to becoming the best assistant you can possibly be. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today on this movie. Like it's such a great watch. I really enjoy this film. And what's even great is that I got to learn even more about it. Thanks to you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Whenever you want to come back, feel free. We can talk about another film or when you work on another film, you know, let me know. Yeah, exactly. Thank you again so much for listening. This has been Film Spill, a movie night podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. All are at Film Spill Pod. Tell a friend about the podcast if you like, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That will help other people find Film Spill too. And where can we follow you, Jillian? Like, where can we see you on this social media?
I'm at Red Hot Jilly Peppers, which is Jilly with one L, like a chili, and then a Z, peppers with a Z. Until next time, don't cry over spilled film.